So it seems that Games Workshop are very much drawing a line under fan animations. No more fan films unless you already have a license from Games Workshop. Hello and welcome back to Warspecs Tactics, where today I just fancied talking about the latest developments in Games Workshop versus the fan animators thing. Something we've talked a few times about on the channel before. It seems they've updated their guidance on what sort of things constitute intellectual property overreaches. A bunch of other content creators have already made videos about this, and I had quite a lot of people asking me for my take. So here's just a very short update as to the new thing that they've posted, and how it does look like Games Workshop really isn't going to allow anyone to do any more fan animations in the future. For those who haven't been following this small drama up to now, basically there was a bit of a trend of people making some really cool high quality animations for Warhammer 40k. It got an absolute ton of traction on YouTube and just in general throughout popular culture. Astartes, Sodas, The Last Church and many others were among the names, and Games Workshop has gone through a process of basically asking these people if they'd like to work with them on Warhammer Plus, and if they happen to choose not to, they basically get told, well, you've got to take down all of your content, as you've made it based on intellectual property and trademarks that we own. A bunch of animators appear to have joined them on this new Warhammer Plus platform they're offering, whereas other people, like I believe Sodas and The Last Church, have chosen not to join them there. So basically them officially promoting their sources of 40k content is completely gone for good, and it's not coming back. This latest update is in the infringement section in the intellectual property section on Games Workshop's site. I found it by literally just googling Games Workshop intellectual property. It's fairly prominent and easy to find. It talks about a whole bunch of things, including other obvious things they wouldn't be a fan of, recasting and 3D printing their models part for part, illegally downloading their content, making games and apps that are based on their setting, and most pertinently for this video, fan films and animations, specifically saying that individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings or characters. These are only to be created under license from Games Workshop. To be honest, it isn't really all that unexpected, and I'm not sure it's even really news. It's kind of how it always worked already with intellectual property. It's just spelled out plain and simply that fan films and animations are the wrong side of the red line for them, even if they just happen to be passion projects that people have created for love of the game, and whether or not the individuals are seeking to make money off them. Although obviously the community at large isn't really a big fan of Games Workshop taking down a bunch of cool Warhammer animations, it really is their legal right. As I'm sure we've all been aware, they do make a lot of effort to make all of their things copyrightable, and it's perhaps part of defending the slippery slope against it being the norm for other people to have the first word on the lore and setting in Warhammer 40k. Or indeed just part of the whole trend for people just making and printing Space Marines wholesale, and lots of profit being diverted away from the official source. I think at the current state of how the fan animations were at YouTube, it's kind of clear that they weren't any major threat to Games Workshop in themselves, and if anything might have enhanced Games Workshop's outlook, bringing a whole load of cool new stuff to the hobby. But trying to look at it from Games Workshop's perspective, I can also see how they don't exactly want to be a minor player within their own lore. They want to have as much control of it as they possibly can. I guess they don't want their setting and characters to be influenced just because, say, someone who creates an amazing animation like Astartes makes any certain design decisions that they may or may not disagree with. I'm certainly not saying that I like it, but I believe that that's where they're coming from. Just from a general consumer point of view, it's hard to say it's anything but sad to see really quality animations get taken down by Games Workshop. It is kind of cool to have these things just kind of materialise out of thin air, after the hard work of fans, rather than I'm sure massive cost and investment by Games Workshop with their own animation teams. It is sad to see these short films like Astartes no longer available on YouTube, where whenever I've seen it mentioned, loads of people seem to crop up saying literally the only reason that they got involved with 40k was seeing those Astartes animations, and while they're still free to watch, they're nowhere near as easy to find, locked away on Games Workshop's community site. People just won't stumble upon them quite as easily as if they were out somewhere more public, say YouTube or somewhere else where more people other than dedicated 40k fans go to look. The move also does seem kind of weird. They've just deliberately recruited a whole bunch of animators to go on with this Warhammer Plus project. Astartes, the people making the Exodite, that Primaris Black Templar project. It seems strange that they basically looked at all of the current stock of animations, said yes, you guys are awesome, we'd really like to work with you and bring you aboard, but also would like no one else to ever imitate you. The way is closed to anyone else who tries to follow after. I guess potentially you might be able to go the other way around, perhaps apply to Games Workshop for some sort of animation license for fan films. I have no idea if they have any sort of capacity to allow that sort of thing to happen, or what sort of restrictions they put on creators. In any case, these sort of moves always make me just a little bit nervous. There's a ton of different Warhammer related genres and content out there on YouTube and elsewhere, particularly things like lore channels, which again could certainly be argued to be making use of Games Workshop's intellectual property, though it's certainly a different genre to fan animations. Certainly must be quite unsettling if you are a lore creator and you're seeing a bunch of sort of related channels go down. There's also the more comedy and parody type channels, such as the legendary If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. I suspect that they might be exempt due to parody, though I admit that I'm no expert on the ins and outs of it whatsoever. And of course just generally anyone else who's making content on YouTube, battle reports, and more review and discussion channels like myself. I'm not sure how much Games Workshop could legally do to shut down a bunch of other YouTube channels if they wanted to, but I certainly suspect that they could make life a lot harder for us. So anyway, I'll certainly be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments. As always, if I've misunderstood anything or got anything majorly wrong, please let me know. I'll post a pinned comment if I've messed anything up. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll most certainly keep the regular 40k content coming, and plenty of other discussion things around Games Workshop and their releases. If you'd like to help support, there's plenty of stuff down in the video description, a link to the Auspex Tactics Patreon page if you're interested, and also to the affiliate links for Element Games or Amazon, where you can buy things that help out the channel with a small amount of the money at no extra cost. Can just be a way to help out, particularly the Element Games one, which gives a small discount on Games Workshop's miniatures from a store based in the UK. In any case, an absolutely massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.